So this is for AFAM, for Professor Alexis. This is my dad. And these are the questions I'm going to be asking him. First question, what is your name and meaning behind your name?
Well, my name is Otis James Souther Jr. My dad was a senior, and Otis is a name from the South. James, my mom never did really care for a junior. She didn't want a junior, but she agreed to it as long as she called me Jimmy.
Okay,
So,
cool. Your birthday and your birthplace.
30 May 1966.
And that makes you how old?
53 years old. Thanks for the math. I was born in Charlotte, North Carolina. Of my brothers and sisters, I was the only one born in Charlotte. My other sisters and brothers were born in Concord,
Okay.
North Carolina.
Is Concord in North Carolina?
Uh-huh.
Okay. What did your parents do as a job?
My mom was mostly a stay-at-home mom, and my dad he served in the military for 4 years and then got the GI Bill and worked mostly as an accountant and a bookkeeper until later in his life when mom got sick, and he worked as a convenience store clerk and a couple other odd jobs and stuff like that. Things got kind of tough.
Okay. What was your first job?
I picked up a couple odd jobs here and there. One of the first jobs I had was picking up cigarette butts and trash at a Dairy Queen.
Oh, wow.
I earned like $5 for like 2 hours worth of work.
Oh, geez.
That's
a lot back then, though, right?
Yeah, back in the 80s, that was a lot of work. That was a lot of money.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't a lot of money, but it was enough to kind of, buy some baseball cards and some sodas and some chewing gum.
What's $5 equivalent to today's
dollars?
dollars?
Probably $15.
Okay.
And I would do that maybe like once every 2 weeks. Eventually, I got a job. When mom got sick, she kind of, through the church, she worked a relationship with someone to get me a job working at a grocery store. So my first official job where I paid taxes was as a bag boy at Jerry's Market.
Okay. How old were you when you got the first job?
15.
Okay. And what did you do with your first paycheck? Well, you already kind of told me. Baseball cards, right?
Yeah, baseball cards and stuff. There wasn't really a paycheck though. That was just kind of like spending money. I used to mow grass too for like $5 here and there around the neighborhood and stuff. That was just kind of like odd jobs and chores. My first job I got was at Jerry's Market, and I think I gave a significant amount of money to my mom, who was sick with cancer at the time.
Okay.
And there was, we weren't doing that well. Dad had to kind of quit some of his other jobs he was making much better money at, so he could be home taking care of mom. So things got kind of tight, and so I think I might have made like $85 that first paycheck, and I probably gave her $50.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And did you ever spend time with tell me about your first friends that you remember.
So in the neighborhood, I had a friend named Joy Davis, and Dwayne Davis, and a bunch of other kids in the neighborhood.
How old were you?
I was probably 8, 9, somewhere in there. And I mean, we did a lot of different things together. At the bus stop, we used to have not like you guys. We had a bus stop, and so we had to be at the bus stop by 7 o'clock in the morning and wait for 20 minutes for the bus to come.
Wow.
And so we're sitting around kind of bored, so we would crumble up.
For school?
Yeah, for school. We had to crumble up a piece of paper, and like 6 or 7 of us guys would stand around in a circle and we'd throw it up in the air, and whoever was brave enough to pick up the paper and run with it, we would all tackle them until it was called kill the man with the ball.
Wow.
Until someone, when they got tackled, then you would throw the ball up and someone else would grab it and they would run from the other guys. And I remember several times going to school with bloody noses and scrubbed up knees and elbows and scratches on me and stuff from those 20-minute games that we
Wow.
played.
Did your parents ever question you with those?
No,
Games and stuff?
that's what we did. It was fun.
Was that normal to be?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Wow.
And we used to play that like on. I mean, that's what we did. And not to criticize young guys nowadays, but when we were bored, we found reasons to hang out with each other and do things instead
Yeah.
of
Yeah,
a
I
cell
get it.
phone.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you got 4 or 5 guys sitting around, you know, testosterone takes over and ego
Yeah.
takes over, and you kind of like, hey, what do you want to do? You know, and eventually challenges kind of get made and stuff, and
Yeah.
you know, you kind of prove yourself, and you have to kind of like stand up or get pushed down.
Yeah. You guys made those games?
Yeah, we went like we
Was it
invented
hard?
the games, but you know, we learned those games from other people.
Oh, okay.
You know, and and not just that. I remember times when we would, earlier than that, in the summertime, I remember we'd get bored and we'd find trash out of dumpsters. There's a big dumpster in this apartment complex we lived in.
Yeah.
We'd find trash and drag it out of the dumpster and build cars and, you know, roll down hills and stuff because we were bored
Yeah.
and we didn't have cell phones and stuff like that. And
That sounds more fun than Instagram.
yeah, we had a lot of fun.
Let's see. Why did your parents give you that name? Well, you kind of already explained that.
Well, I can tell you though that normally the first child, the first son born, is considered for a junior, right? But in my family, the first son born was David, and so they named him David, and Mom did not want a junior, and 6 years later they had me, and my dad really, really, really wanted a junior because he was, you know, a senior, so he wanted a junior. And so I was 11 pounds, 7 ounces when I was born. And I wasn't a C-section. So Mom was heavily drugged back in those days, in the 60s. She had a broken arm from falling down, crossing the street. So, you know, back in those days, you'd smoke when you were pregnant and drink when you were pregnant and all that kind of stuff. So I was carried for 10 months. And I was 11 pounds, 7 ounces. And so Mom was heavily sedated. So Dad forged her signature on the birth certificate. And Mom was very, very upset with her. But she agreed to not challenge it if she was allowed to call me Jimmy. And I went by Jimmy until I was like 13.
Wow. Why did your mom not want Junior on your name?
I don't know. I think there was a growing frustration in any marriage a lot of times.
Yeah.
You know, you meet somebody and you marry them and things are like warm and fuzzy and you feel great and everything. But after being married like 10 or 12 years, you kind of like, there's a certain distance that you kind of develop.
Yeah.
And I think that at that point, she's kind of developed a little frustration with him, even though, you know, we're still having kids and stuff.
Yeah.
And still, you know, happily married. There's a reasonable accommodation that happens in a relationship. And I think that she was kind of frustrated with him maybe a little bit. She had seen some of the things in him that, you know, personality kind of comes out. It's easy to fool somebody for 4 or 5 years. But after 8, 9, 10 years, your own personality kind of comes out in a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think she was kind of getting frustrated with him.
Oh, okay.
He was really committed to work and didn't spend as much time at home. She had to raise the kids. And so there was this little disdain for him. So she didn't want a junior. And when I was really bad, she would look at me and she would say, "You're a little Otis."
Oh.
And that was kind of a bad thing.
Yeah. Okay. So you said Jimmy was your nickname until 13. How did your mom came up with that nickname?
She shortened James.
Okay.
That's one of the things I love about my name, Otis James Souther Jr. So you can call me O. You can call me Otis. You can call me OJ, which went by for a long time. You can call me Jimmy. You can call me James. You can call me Jim. You can call me Junior.
Yeah.
Just don't call me late for dinner.
And Mr. Souther.
And Mr. Souther, right?
How did you meet my mom and expand on that, please?
So I was in Japan. I had 2 kids with me, Olivia and Trey. And I had just gotten divorced from Sue, my ex-wife, and I was really struggling, and I didn't have a lot of confidence in my ability to raise two children by myself. And